Ever needed to tweak the default behavior of your FastMCP server across your entire application without modifying each server instance? We'll explore how to access and configure global FastMCP settings that control everything from logging levels to input validation, showing you the central place to manage cross-cutting concerns for all your MCP servers.
Import FastMCP. Hash access global settings. Print FastMCP. Settings log level hash default. Info. Print FastMCP. Settings mask error details hash default. False. Print FastMCP. Settings resource prefix format hash default. Path. Print FastMCP. Settings strict input validation hash default. False. Print FastMCP. Settings include FastMCP meta hash default. True.
This demonstrates the global configuration pattern, where framework behavior is controlled through centralized settings rather than instance-specific parameters. The approach provides consistent defaults while allowing environment-driven customization, creating a predictable runtime environment across different deployments. What makes this distinctive is the separation between application logic and operational configuration, enabling clean code that adapts to different environments without modification. The pattern works by establishing a hierarchy of configuration sources, with environment variables overriding defaults and instance settings taking precedence over globals. This layered approach follows the principle of convention over configuration, where sensible defaults reduce boilerplate while still allowing customization when needed. The design keeps configuration declarative and discoverable, with all settings exposed through a single access point rather than scattered across initialization code. This approach solves the problem of environment-specific behavior without requiring code changes or complex dependency injection. It's particularly valuable for libraries and frameworks that need to work across diverse deployment scenarios, from local development to cloud production. The trade-off is slightly reduced explicitness in configuration sources, but the benefit is cleaner application code that remains portable across different operational contexts. Let's break it down line by line.
Import FastMCP.
This imports the FastMCP package, giving access to its core functionality and global configuration. The package provides tools for creating AI-callable functions and managing their execution context. All subsequent operations depend on this import.
Hash access global settings. Print FastMCP. Settings log level hash default. Info.
This accesses the global logging level setting, controlling verbosity of FastMCP's internal logs. The default info level shows operational messages while filtering out debug noise, balancing visibility and performance. Adjust this to debug for troubleshooting or warning for production.
Print FastMCP. Settings mask error details hash default. False.
This controls whether error details are redacted in responses. When false, FastMCP returns full error traces for debugging. When true, it masks sensitive details in production. This is critical for security in deployed systems while maintaining debuggability during development.
Print FastMCP. Settings resource prefix format hash default. Path.
This controls how FastMCP prefixes resource paths in generated open API schemas. The path default ensures clean URL structures, while alternative formats like operationid enable compatibility with strict API gateways that reject path style identifiers.
Print FastMCP. Settings strict input validation hash default. False.
This controls whether FastMCP enforces strict type validation on tool inputs. When false, it silently coerces types where possible, trading safety for flexibility. Enable this in production to catch schema violations early.
Print FastMCP. Settings include fastMCP meta hash default. True.
This controls whether FastMCP injects metadata into tool responses. When true, each response includes execution details like timestamps and tool version, essential for debugging and observability. Disable this only when you need minimal payloads. Global configuration pattern. FastMCP's global settings provide a unified control plane for all servers, blending environment variables, code configuration, and runtime flexibility into a single coherent system. Environment variables override code default silently, which can lead to unexpected behavior if you're not checking FastMCP settings at runtime. Always verify critical settings like strict input validation and mascara details in production, as their defaults optimize for development flexibility over security.
The setting that is never set still sets everything.